And a surprising twist within Nigeria's music industry, there's a growing identity crisis surrounding the Afrobeat genre. Prominent artists like Burna Boy and Wizkid, despite being associated with the Afrobeats movement, are now more vocal about their music not fitting the traditional Afrobeats label. Now, this shift has sparked a debate regarding the evolution and definition of Nigerian music, particularly concerning its cultural roots and global identity.
Now, Afrobeats, an offshoot of Afrobeat genre pioneered by the legendary Fela Kuti, has significantly impacted Nigeria's cultural landscape and gained immense popularity worldwide. However, the distinction between Afrobeat and Afrobeats has become blurred over time, with the latter incorporating more contemporary influences such as hip-hop, R&B, and also dancehall. Now, this departure from Afrobeat's original sound and message has led to concerns about the dilution of Nigeria's musical heritage and also its cultural identity.
This ongoing identity crisis has broader implications for Nigeria's music industry and its global reputation. While Afrobeats has undeniably propelled Nigerian music to international acclaim, the erosion of its ties to Afrobeat risks disconnecting it from its historical and cultural significance. And as artists continue to redefine and evolve Nigeria's musical landscape, it is crucial to maintain a balance between innovation and honoring the legacy of genres like Afrobeat, which has played a pivotal role in shaping Nigeria's rich musical heritage.
Now, this is the exciting part. Joining us today to discuss the identity crisis are two legends themselves in the Nigerian music scene. We're talking about none other than Michael Stevens. You know him as Ruggedybaba, rapper, actor, and also philanthropist. That's a new one. And of course, Bros is also in the studio. Efe Omorogbe, creative entrepreneur. And if you know him from the start, he was well, he used to assassinate OAPs. Lurking in bushes until they appear and then he pounces on them. You are welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you guys
Welcome,
here.
guys. It's good to have you join us here. We
Thank
appreciate
you very
for
much.
taking
Thank
out
you.
your time this morning to be with us in the studio.
Yeah, an absolute
I want to
pleasure.
start. Let me ask both of you, anybody go first. How would you define the evolving music landscape currently? This Afrobeat blurring or Afrobeats blurring into Afrobeat and then the dissociation by artists from it. Let's start with Roger.
Ladies first.
Nah.
What?
Yeah, he came swinging.
Okay. Well, did you say blurring from what?
From Afrobeats, or from
Afrobeats.
Afrobeat into Afrobeats.
Well, you see, from day one, when they started the whole trying to target Afrobeats, I was never down for it. I was never for it, really. I would have just preferred they just left it the way it was, because if you had even said Nigerian beats or Niger beats, I'd understand. This is Nigerian music. So you're now saying Afro beats. Afro in there is obviously African, right? So now are we now also trying to give other African nations, their own music? Are we now trying to pack all of them into our own music, one genre? You understand? Of course. Okay, now, and a question I asked back then was, then what happens to reggae? What happens to Fuji? What happens to Juju and Akpala?
But those ones already are genres. You just
Yeah,
call
that's what I'm
them
saying. But
reggae.
there's still music being made by Nigerians who are Africans.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, when you think about Afrobeat in and of itself, the Afrobeat itself is a genre that was created by the legendary Fela
That's
Kuti.
Afrobeat.
Right.
Okay.
And then the offshoot from that became Afrobeats.
It wasn't an offshoot from that. It was just Nigerians wanting to tag something. They just wanted to name. They want to own something. A lot of people in this generation, they love tags. They love. Maybe that's where hashtags come in. They just wanted to tag something. Rap was rap. Okay, do you hear them say American rap or Spanish rap?
It's just rap.
It's rap.
If you're staring in your seats.
You keep moving. Talk to me.
Okay, so I'm pretty kinetic. So I move a lot, even when
It's okay.
It's not indicative of being agitated or disagreeing with anything. But my view is slightly different. I think that first and foremost, I was uncomfortable for a long time with the Afrobeats tag for what's supposed to be contemporary African music as delivered by a generation of recording artists, predominantly Nigeria and Ghana, and some of the neighboring countries in between. But my view is that the Afrobeats tag did not really originate from artists or Nigerian artists trying to label their music. I think it started from the UK.
Nigerians in the
Yes,
UK.
it started from Nigerians in the UK. It started with media personalities in the UK. And I understand where they're coming from. Even though I didn't agree initially, but I understand. If you run a radio show or run a radio station, you're doing programming, sometimes there's a need to create boxes and slots and stuff. You can't really do proper programming. You can do proper playlisting if you do not have categorization.
Well-curated.
Yes, categorization. And with the popularity of music coming out of Nigeria, out of Ghana, and a couple of places, the more prominent they became within the space in the UK, there appeared to have been a need to say, okay, let's put a label, right? I remember people like DJ Abranti and a few others were like the first people to officially have like a radio show or something that had the tag Afrobeats, right, with the S.
So that's a good thing. At least we've established that Afrobeats is, well, very separate from Afrobeats and perhaps maybe shouldn't have been tagged. So now it's also quite a heritage for Nigeria and Africa. However, something that's our own and people who are, as a people who are very proud of their artists being exports now. You're talking about Wizkid, Burna Boy, Davido, they're all exports. Now these exports themselves are the ones who are now telling that, no, I don't want to be identified as Afrobeats. I want to be something else. I make music for the world. In addition to that, that's also causing rifts inside of the, no, I'm going to talk about this.
All that is great. All that is fantastic stuff as far as I'm concerned. All that is positive because anything that sparks debate, anything that forces people to have conversations is good for the movement, is good for the ecosystem, is good for the growth. And I see all of this as just signs of growth, of the evolution, right? But fundamentally, the question is, what is Afrobeats? If we're able to agree on what Afrobeats is, that would actually help us understand a lot of all of these conversations.
Okay.
So for me personally, Afrobeats is not really a term that refers to a particularly style of music. Okay. It's really more of an umbrella term for a fusion of different sounds. So when you say, for example, in the 60s, you had you had the Motown era, and they had a lot of, like big hit records, right? And it was almost like a formula. There was a tag for it. They called it the sound of young America.
Yeah.
Now, it had a bit of R&B influence. It had a bit of soul influence. It had a bit of even gospel, Negro spiritual influence. It had a bit of pop influence. The different artists, right? The different artists within the Motown era, the kind of music they made it was different, but there were similarities.
If I'm going to pause you there, because
very quickly, and I want to come to you, Rugged Man, right? You're a rapper, but in the course of your music journey, you also decided to do what you call dancehall or Afrobeats. And I remember during the intro of that song, you said, people said, I thought I couldn't just rap, I could do more. And in that point, I'm going to use your experience to ask this next question. For these artists who are disassociating themselves from this genre, is it innovation or their need to show more of what they can do?
Well, for me, I think, as you were talking now, I was going to say, I wish one of them was here. So you just ask them. I want to know exactly why they are disassociating themselves with it. For me, from what you talked about, the sounds in America, when you talked about the mistake a lot of Nigerians made, they somehow, trying to tag Afrobeats, they somehow mistook Afrobeats for a genre. It's not a genre. We already have all of that. And whenever you ask me if I tell anybody, I'll tell you, look, Afrobeats with an S, like they say, to me was just a facade that a lot of talentless Nigerians hid behind.
Okay, so I've just been told.
And sorry, let me just say, and what I did with Baraje, I said for those that say I don't have a dance track, I did a dance track. I made what rappers then will call commercial music.
Good.
You understand? Yeah.
I just got information that we have a very short time, but I can't let you guys go without touching on something that's presently making waves on social media. It's this Wizkid versus Davido versus Don Jazzy. Now, there's a certain level of disrespect, in quote. People would say that these new genre artists are bringing with their style of music. We saw that East Coast, West Coast. Is that a thing in here in Nigeria? And what's your take on the specific individuals, whether Wizkid or Davido, in this matter? Please, Efe.
I think these are just bands. I don't take them too seriously. It's sometimes difficult to tell when someone is saying something to stir a conversation ahead of the release of a record or something, or when it's really heartfelt. And again, Twitter, social media, there's usually very little context. I make a tweet, I tweet something in 3 or 4 lines. There's a lot of background stuff that, Rugged just said. If you were to sit the talent down to say, give us context, right? We probably will better understand how deep this really runs. But for me, it's disturbing to a lot of people. I think it should be should be toned down so that things don't spill over. But at this moment, I think 80% of it is just bands. It's just buzz. It's just promo. It's just all of that stuff. I don't take them too seriously.
Right.
Yeah, but for me, it's always the fans. It's always the fans. If you check almost each time there's been an issue between Davido and Wizkid, it's always when one of them responds to something a fan said. And the next thing, the other artist will be forced to say something. You're talking about Davido and Wizkid. Now check when Techno responded to something someone said. Kids Daniels now came forward and said, "Oh, they're talking money. You two, you're talking. You that I helped revive your dead career." You understand? It's always the fans. Toning it down, like if he said, is for the artists. Because if the artists just come out and say, "Hey, you guys, hey, calm down. This is entertainment, and you don't take it this." See, artists can say things and do things, but how the fans react, you can never predict. Let me give you a quick example. When I dropped a hand, there was a whole lot of beef. You looked like there was a whole lot of beef. I was at an event performing and somebody tapped my shoe and he asked me, he said, look, that he knows where Idris lives, that he can go and break a bottle on his head if I want.
That's your fan.
You understand? I just said, nah.
I mean, look,
I just said, no, don't do that, don't do that. But imagine if I said, go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy's mental,
You're the side of the cult.
Yeah.
Rugged Man, I wish we had enough time to actually talk about the fan behavior, really, because then if you want to take that, we can widen that even to the new craze, which is the reality television campaign. That's a lot, right? And also we can now go into substance abuse. So much more that is going on with our
this new generation.
It's so much that needs to be talked about.
I'm not holding
we're out of time.
Unfortunately, we're almost at the top of the hour.
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
When it comes to entertainment, you guys, you need like an hour.
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
But I want to say thank you, okay, to you gentlemen for taking out the time out of your very busy schedule to be here. We appreciate you for doing this with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
I would like to say it was a pleasure, but I actually wish we had enough time to
say more.
To answer, to actually deal with the issues,
There's a lot
yeah,
to be.
We hope we get a chance.
There's going to be another
later.
time. I promise you. That's a promise from us here on Breakfast Extra. My name is Judith at TV, by the way.
My name is Mazino Appeal. You stay tuned.